নমস্কার। ইতিহাসের অনেক সাক্ষী এই অমৃত সাধন যেখানে আমরা দাঁড়িয়ে রয়েছি, নেতাজি ভবন, 38-2 এলগিন রোড। এই নেতাজি ভবন শুধুমাত্র ঐতিহাসিক একটি ভবনই নয়। এই ভবনটি নেতাজির পিতৃদেব জানকীনাথ বসু তার পরিবারের বসবাসের জন্য 1909 খ্রিস্টাব্দে নির্মাণ করেন। ম্যাট্রিক পরীক্ষা দিয়ে নেতাজি এই গৃহে পদার্পণ করেন 1913 সালের পরে, এবং তারপর তার কলেজের জীবন, তার কারা জীবন, কংগ্রেস সভাপতি যে তিনি থেকেছেন 1938-1939 সাল, এবং এই ঐতিহাসিক গৃহ থেকেই সংগঠিত হয় তার সেই রোমহর্ষক মহানিষ্ক্রমণ 16-17 জানুয়ারি 1941 মধ্যরাতের কিছু পরে। 1946 সালে নেতাজির পূজনীয় অগ্রজ শ্রী শরৎচন্দ্র বসু এই নেতাজি ভবন দেশের উদ্দেশ্যে উৎসর্গীকৃত করেন। সেই 1947 সাল থেকে, অর্থাৎ স্বাধীনতার কয়েক মাস আগে থেকেই 23 জানুয়ারি এই ঐতিহাসিক ভবনে নেতাজির জন্মদিন পালিত হয়ে আসছে। অর্থাৎ গত 75 বছর ধরেই এই নেতাজি ভবন থেকে কিন্তু নেতাজি রিসার্চ ব্যুরোর তত্ত্বাবধানে নেতাজির জন্মদিন পালিত হয়। এবছর এটি আরেকটি অন্য মাত্রা পেয়েছে, কারণ এবছর নেতাজির 125তম জন্মবার্ষিকী। এই সমগ্র অনুষ্ঠানটি কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যেই আপনারা সরাসরি দেখতে পারবেন ডিডি বাংলার আনুকূল্যে। কিছুক্ষণ পরেই, এখন থেকে আর মিনিট 2-3 মধ্যেই আমরা সরাসরি সম্প্রচার করব নেতাজি ভবন থেকে আয়োজিত নেতাজি 125তম জন্মবার্ষিকী উদযাপনের অনুষ্ঠান। নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসুর কিন্তু সুভাষচন্দ্র থেকে নেতাজি হয়ে ওঠার গল্পটি কিন্তু শুরু হয়েছিল 16-17 জানুয়ারির রাত্রিবেলা। কারণ সুভাষচন্দ্র সেই রাত্রে মোহাম্মদ জিয়াউদ্দিনের ছদ্মবেশে এই গৃহ থেকে মহানিষ্ক্রমণ না করলে কিন্তু আইনে সেনাবাহিনীর বা আজাদ হিন্দ ফৌজ সেনাবাহিনী গঠিত হতো না, এবং নেতাজির আজাদ হিন্দ ফৌজ সরকার গঠিত হতো না, এবং সর্বোপরি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসুর নেতাজি রূপে আমাদের মধ্যে কিন্তু ফিরে আসা হয়তো হতো না। নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসুর এই যে আপনারা দেখতে পাচ্ছেন, এই যে লম্বা ড্রাইভওয়ে, আমার পেছনে দেখছেন নেতাজির সেই ঐতিহাসিক গাড়ি PLA 7169 ওয়ান্ডারার গাড়ি। এটির চালকের আসনে বসেছিলেন নেতাজির ভ্রাতুষ্পুত্র শিশির কুমার বসু, এবং তার রাঙা কাকাবাবুকে তিনি এই রাস্তা দিয়ে চালিয়ে নিয়ে পৌঁছে দিয়েছিলেন গোমো পর্যন্ত। সেখানকার পরের ইতিহাস আপনাদের সকলের জানা। আসুন আমরা দেখি সরাসরি সম্প্রচার নেতাজি ভবন থেকে।
To this very special occasion. A series of major events Netaji Research Bureau had planned for this weekend, 21st to 23rd January, have had to be postponed, but all will be rescheduled over the coming months as a continuous celebration of Netaji's 125th in the run-up to 75 years of independence. These events will be publicized in due course. Netaji Research Bureau's Netaji Award was instituted in 1986 at the initiative of its director, Dr. Shishir Kumar Bose. Its original purpose was to honor men and women who had served or helped India's struggle for freedom under the leadership of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. The first recipient, on 23rd January 1986, was General Fujiwara of Japan. As a mid-ranking officer of the Imperial Japanese Army, Fujiwara was famously instrumental in the formation of the Indian National Army, the Azad Hind Fauj, in Singapore in 1942. He stayed closely involved with the Azad Hind movement and fought alongside the INA in Manipur in 1944. Fujiwara remained a devoted friend of India all his life and visited Netaji Bhaban many times, especially on 23rd January, between the 1960s and the 1980s. He assisted Shishir and Krishna Bose in their long and hard struggle to preserve and propagate Netaji's legacy through Netaji Research Bureau, and he was their main host on a visit to Japan in 1979. General Fujiwara was honored with the inaugural Netaji Award 1 month before he departed this world. In late February of 1986, a telegram from his family arrived here at Netaji Research Bureau. It read, "Fujiwara returned to Hindustan forever." The award's second recipient was Major General Muhammad Zaman Kiani, the INA's senior-most field officer who commanded the INA 1st Division in the battlefields of India's northeast in 1944. On 23rd January 1987, General Kiani's widow and daughter came to Kolkata from Lahore and received the award from Gyani Zail Singh, the President of India. M.Z. Gyani had passed away in Pakistan in 1981. In the 1990s, the Nethachi Award was conferred on freedom fighters of great distinction. In 1992, jointly on the Red Fort III, Shahnawaz Khan, Prem Kumar Saigal, and Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon, and in 1993, on Lakshmi Saigal, formerly Swaminathan, and Janaki Athinahappan, formerly Thevar, the commander and deputy commander, respectively, of the INA's legendary Rani of Jhansi Regiment. Last year, on 23rd January 2021, the Netaji Award was conferred posthumously on Abid Hassan, who joined Netaji's struggle in Germany in 1941, accompanied him on the epic submarine voyage from Europe to Asia in 1943, and then served the movement with immense dedication and valor until August 1945. Netaji Research Bureau's Netaji Award has been conferred a total of only 10 times since its inception in 1986. This year, 2022, marks 70 years of the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1952 between the Republic of India and the State of Japan. Today, on Netaji's 125th birth anniversary, Netaji Research Bureau is privileged to offer the Netaji Award to a person who is simultaneously an eminent global statesman, the longest-serving Prime Minister of Japan, a devoted friend of India, and a great admirer of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, Shinzo Abe. We fondly recall Shinzo Abe's visit to Netaji Bhaban on his first visit to India as Japan's Prime Minister in 2007. You can see Professor Krishna Bose, chairperson of Netaji Research Bureau, presenting a memento to Prime Minister Abe during that visit. It's the historic photograph of Netaji on his way to an audience with the Emperor of Japan in Tokyo in November 1943. May I now ask Mr. Yutaka Nakamura, the Consul General of Japan in Kolkata, to please come up on the dais and receive the Netaji Award 2022 on Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's behalf. Consul General Nakamura. Consul General Nakamura will now read out a message sent to Netaji Research Bureau by Prime Minister Abe. Consul General Nakamura.
Professor Sugata Bose, Chairperson, Netaji Research Bureau, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to express my heartfelt congratulations on the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude for the conferment of the Honorable Nethachi Award. Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose is a bond that connects the heart of people of Japan and India. I vividly remember my visit to Netaji Bhaban with a guide of the late Mrs. Krishna Bose in 2007. I have strived to promote the Japan-India relations, which is the bilateral relations blessed with the greatest potential for development in the world, through a wide range of discussions with Indian leaders at various occasions, including during the 9 years of my tenure as Prime Minister of Japan. I have many good memories from my visit to several Indian cities, such as Kolkata, Varanasi, and Ahmedabad, in addition to the capital, New Delhi, during my tenure. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and India. I sincerely hope that our Japan-India special strategic and global partnership will be further strengthened in wide-ranging areas such as political, economic, and cultural fields. And two countries would take a leading role towards peace and prosperity of Indo-Pacific. As former Prime Minister of Japan and in my capacity as a member of House of Representatives, I am determined to do my utmost to continue contributing to the development of bilateral relations. In closing, I would like to express my heartfelt wishes for every success of Netaji Bhaban and Netaji Research Bureau, further prosperity of India, and continued development of the Japan-India friendship. Former Prime Minister of Japan, Member of House of Representatives, Abe Shinzo.
Thank you, Consul General Nakamura. We will now hear a message from Mr. Satoshi Suzuki, the Ambassador of Japan to India. Ambassador Suzuki.
Professor Fujiwara Bose, Chairperson of Netaji Research Bureau, Professor Shumantra Bose, Director of Netaji Research Bureau, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar and good morning to you all. I wish to extend my sincere congratulations on the occasion of the 125th anniversary of the birth of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. As the COVID-19 protocols prevent me from joining you in person in Kolkata on this memorable occasion, kindly allow me to convey my message through this video. Any talk about India's fight for freedom is incomplete without the reference of Netaji, one of the most prominent and important figures of the time. I congratulate the Netaji Research Bureau for organizing this event to pay respect to the brave freedom fighter and leader who has contributed to unifying the nation and led the national movement for freedom, which India finally attained 75 years ago. That also makes this year special for the country. The year 2022 is also a special year for us, as it marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and India. Today, Japan and India, as strategic partners, cooperate in a close and multi-layered manner in the Indo-Pacific as well as on the global arena through strong bilateral ties between our two countries. The trust between our two nations has been laid well beyond 70 years of our diplomatic history. We have never forgotten that it was a newly independent India then that extended enormous help to Japan to come back to the international community after World War II. Whether it was Swami Vivekananda, Rabindranath Tagore, Justice Radha Vinod Pal, many great Indians, notably from Bengal, had been associated with then Japanese intellectuals and had played a large role in building modern India-Japan relations. Undoubtedly, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose was one of the persons who marked a new chapter in the history of the two nations. Netaji is one of the most revered freedom fighters of India. His ardent passion and charismatic personality made him one of the most memorable Indians among the Japanese citizens. It was in 1943 that Netaji arrived in Japan through a long trip from Germany, and then he succeeded from Bihari Bose, the Indian Independence League, and the Commander-in-Chief of Indian National Army, INA. Netaji organized the INA with thousands of young Indians, men and women, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and Sikhs, all equally joined to form the army for the cause of India's independence. In this regard, I would like to narrate about a person from a biography that is widely read in Japan. There was an Indian lady. Her name was Bharati Asha Sahai Chaudhary, also known as Asako in Japan. She was born in Kobe, Japan in 1928 as a daughter of Anand Mohan Sahai, who served as a cabinet minister of the Provisional Government of Free India. Asha was also one of the devoted patriots inspired by Netaji. Netaji opened opportunities to all Indian patriots, including young ladies like her, to join the INA for India's independence. National movement forged the unity of this diverse land. It brought people of diverse faiths, diverse creeds, diverse languages together, and then fought for the freedom of the motherland. Netaji and his INA set a wonderful precedent for comprehensive unity and religious harmony to the independent India in the later days. Netaji said, "One individual may die for an idea, but that idea will, after his death, incarnate itself in 1,000 lives." After 75 years of its independence, his inspiration seems to be still vivid among the people in India and even among foreigners like us. Former Prime Minister Abe is also the one inspired by Netaji. On his visit to the memorial in Kolkata in August 2007, he said, "The Japanese are deeply moved by Bose's strong will to have led the Indian independence movement from the British rule." Netaji is a much respected name in Japan. Netaji and the many Indians who stood up for the beliefs to liberate India evoke a feeling of great respect in many Japanese, including myself. I would like to reiterate our respect for all the steps that two nations have taken together since then, and for the path we will walk together from now. Before I conclude, I'd like to mention that the theme of the 70th anniversary of the establishment of Japan-India diplomatic relations is building a future for our centenary. Let us pass on the blessed relationship of both nations we received from our predecessors to the young next generations. I hope that all of you present at this event today, and even many more, will join our journey in further strengthening the Japan-India relationship. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
I said 15 minutes ago that I was missing the crowds, but the driveway seems to be becoming more and more crowded. Shinzo Abe presented with the Nethachi Award 2022 for his outstanding commitment to the friendship of Japan and India, a friendship which is a glorious legacy of the final climactic struggle for India's freedom waged under the leadership of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. We wish to thank Kamal Mondal, the sculptor of the bronze relief of Subhas Chandra Bose, which adorns the Netaji Award, and Colonel Deepak Kumar Dotto, whose firm has crafted this beautiful Netaji Award of 2022. Last month, December 2021, was the 50th anniversary of a historic event, the birth of Bangladesh, in December 1971. Not many people know that for many months in 1971, this house, Netaji Bhaban, was a center of activity in support of Bangladesh's struggle for freedom and a hub of freedom fighters. Krishna Bose, among others, worked tirelessly to support the Bangladesh freedom struggle, along with such persons as the famous revolutionary fighter Bina Bhomik, formerly Bina Dash, the daughter of Netaji's schoolteacher and early inspiration, Beni Madhop Dash. And along with his medical colleagues, Dr. Shishir Bose set up a Netaji Field Hospital in Bokchora, a place on the Bonga border, where sick refugees and wounded Mukti Jodhas received life-saving treatment, including complex surgeries. In 2012, the government of Bangladesh posthumously honored Dr. Shishir Kumar Bose for his contribution to Bangladesh's freedom. Mrs. Krishna Bose received the award in Dhaka from the hands of Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister of Bangladesh. And just 3.5 years ago, in mid-2018, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina herself visited Netaji Bhaban, accompanied by her sister, Sheikh Rehana. Bangabandhu returned to liberated Bangladesh on January 10th, 1972. On January 17th, 1972, Dr. Shishir Bose met Bangabandhu in Dhaka. It was a deeply emotional meeting for both of them. Dr. Shishir Bose personally drove an ambulance used by the Netaji Field Hospital to Dhaka. As you know, he was a good driver. For Netaji's 75th birth anniversary, on 23rd January 1972, Bangabandhu recorded an audio message which was brought to Kolkata by Srimati Nilima Ibrahim. The message was broadcast to the packed gathering right here on the morning of 23rd January 1972. This is the message. Netaji Research Bureau, Netaji Bhabane, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahmaner Nijo Kanthe Prerito Barta, 23 January 1972। ভারতবর্ষের স্বাধীনতা সংগ্রামের পুরোধা, জাতীয়তাবাদ আন্দোলনের জ্বলন্ত প্রতীক নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসুর জন্মবার্ষিকীতে আমরা তাকে পরম শ্রদ্ধা ভরে স্মরণ করি। স্বাধীনতা আন্দোলনে নেতাজির ত্যাগ ও তিতিক্ষার আদর্শ চিরকালের জন্য বিশ্বের সকল মুক্তিকামী মানুষের চলার পথে পাথেয় হয়ে থাকবে। তিনি আজ নেই, কিন্তু যে প্রদীপের আলো তিনি ছড়িয়ে দিয়ে গেছেন তাতে মুক্তি সংগ্রামের পথ উদ্ভাসিত। তিনি অমর ও অক্ষয়, প্রদীপ্ত ভাস্করের মতো বিশ্বের মাঝে বেঁচে রয়েছেন। জয় বাংলা। And now in an English translation, on his birth anniversary, we remember Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, the leader of India's struggle for freedom, the blazing embodiment of nationalism, with the deepest respect. Netaji's example of courage and sacrifice in the cause of freedom will, for eternity, be an inspiration to the struggle of all freedom-seeking peoples of this world. Today, he is no more. But the burning flame he has left lights up the path of freedom fighters. He is immortal and irreducible. He lives on like the flaming sun that illuminates the world. Jai Bangla. You will now hear, exactly 50 years later to the day, the tribute to Netaji in Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's own voice. The photograph you see shows Shishir Bose with Mujibur Rahman in his Dhanmondi residence in Dhaka on January 17th, 1972.
ভারতবর্ষের স্বাধীনতা সংগ্রামের প্রধা, জাতীয়বাদ আন্দোলনের চলন্ত প্রতীক নেতাজি সুভাষ চন্দ্র বসুর জন্মবার্ষিকীতে আমরা তাকে পরম শ্রদ্ধা ভরে স্মরণ করি। স্বাধীনতা আন্দোলনে নেতাজির ত্যাগ ও তিতিক্ষার আদর্শ চিরকালের জন্য বিশ্বের সকল মুক্তিকামী মানুষের চলার পথে পাথ হয়ে থাকবে। তিনি আজ নেই, কিন্তু যে প্রদীপের আলো তিনি ছড়িয়ে দিয়ে গেছেন তাতে মুক্তি সংগ্রামের পথ উদ্ভাসিত। তিনি অমর ও অক্ষয়, প্রদীপ্ত ভাস্করের মতো বিশ্বের মাঝে বেঁচে রয়েছেন। জয় বাংলা।
The crowning achievement of Netaji Research Bureau's publishing program, which began 60 years ago, is the Netaji Collected Works, published in 12 volumes and available in English, Bengali, Hindi, and other Indian languages. Today, we are proud to release new editions of 3 of those volumes. Volume 3 in Burmese prisons, Volume 11, Azad Hind, and Volume 12, Chalo Delhi. Next, we have the 125th birth anniversary edition of NRB's journal, our in-house journal, The Oracle, which started publication on 23rd January 1979 under the editorship of Dr. Shishir Bose. The cover of this very, very special edition of The Oracle shows Netaji in snowy Bad Gastein in Austria in December 1937, and it has much precious material within its covers, as always. On 23rd January 1975, Netaji Research Bureau published a collection of Bengali poetry, edited by Krishna Bose, titled Bir Bandana, Hail the Hero. The poets whose works on Netaji feature in this amazing collection include Rabindranath Tagore, his Deshonayak eulogy of 1939, Dilip Kumar Roy, Netaji's close friend, whose own 125th birthday was just yesterday, January 22nd, the Japanese poet Yone Noguchi, the English poet Edward Farley Oaten of 1916 Presidency College fame, Prirendra Mitro, Bonapul, Omio Chakraborty, Narendra Deb, and Kaji Abdul Wadud, among many others. 47 years later, Netaji Research Bureau is proud to publish a new edition, a brand new edition of this timeless volume, Bir Bandana. Finally, we are delighted to release, on the occasion of Netaji's 125th, an entirely new volume called Netaji, A Life in Pictures. Most of you know of Netaji, A Pictorial Biography, that landmark volume edited by Shishir Kumar Bose and first published in 1979, which is still massively popular 4 decades later. Netaji, A Pictorial Biography, depicts Netaji's life through over 500 historic photographs and key documents. Well, for Netaji's 125th and the 75th anniversary of independence, Netaji Research Bureau collaborated with the Publications Division of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of the Government of India to bring out a worthy successor and supplement to the ever-popular pictorial biography. Netaji, A Life in Pictures, depicts Subhas Chandra Bose's life through over 200 photographs and key documents. This beautiful volume contains some of the classic images of Netaji and his life of struggle, but also many images that have been found more recently, since the 1980s. Netaji Research Bureau provided the content from our archives, and the Publications Division, led by its Director General, Srimati Monideepa Mukherjee, produced this volume. All the books released today are available in Netaji Research Bureau's bookshop, located at the front end of the historic driveway of this house. I had undertaken to say a few words on Mrs. Krishna Bose. Last 23rd January, there was such a hullabaloo here that we couldn't remember her properly. I mentioned that Netaji Research Bureau's publishing program, essential to disseminate Netaji's life and ideals to the world, began 60 years ago. Dr. Shishir Bose also opened the Netaji Museum on the first and second floors of this house 60 years ago in 1961. 6 decades was also the period of time Professor Krishna Bose, chairperson of Netaji Research Bureau from 2000 until her death in 2020 at 89 years of age, spent researching, writing, and broadcasting 6 decades about Netaji's life of struggle. In a journey of discovery she undertook in partnership with her husband. We lost Krishna Bose suddenly 23 months ago. It will be 2 years in a month's time that she suddenly left us. That empty chair in the middle of the dais is permanently reserved for her. Krishna Bose lives on through the seminal books Itihasher Sandhane, Choronorekha Tabo, Prashango Subhas Chandra, that she published in Bengali on Netaji and his life of struggle. Children, meanwhile, read her book Chotode Netaji, means Netaji for kids, which she wrote in 2018, quite recently, and its English counterpart, Netaji, A Biography for the Young, has been popular across India since its first appearance in 1995. A few months ago, an omnibus Bengali anthology of more than 100 of her articles and essays on very diverse topics and themes, written over 70 years, was published as Krishna Bose Prabandha Sangraho, or Collected Essays, 1951 to 2020, and the volume was ceremonially released right here at Netaji Bhaban 4 weeks ago on her 91st birthday, 26 December 2021. That anthology includes about 25 of her articles on various aspects of Netaji's life, which she wrote between 1962, the first article, and 2020, the last article. Krishna Bose was a pioneer of serious, substantive research on Netaji's life of struggle. Over the decades, as a quiet, dedicated worker of Netaji Research Bureau, she gained an intimate personal familiarity with both the important people, for example, almost all of the leading INA officers, and the important places, from Singapore and Taipei to Vienna and Prague, in Netaji's life. I'm very happy to announce today, on Netaji's 125th birth anniversary, that a book of 18 of her most important articles on Netaji, mostly published in Bengali over 6 decades, will be published by a leading English language publisher in a few months' time. I have done the compiling and the translations. This volume, Krishna Bose, Netaji and Azad Hind, Essays on Subhas Chandra Bose's life, politics and struggle, will at long last make Krishna Bose's corpus of work on Netaji accessible in the global language, English. It should have happened long ago, and preferably not posthumously, but better late than never. In recent years, unfortunately, there is a growing trend of frauds and charlatans posing as Netaji researchers, peddling outlandish and outrageous junk about Netaji. That makes it all the more important to bring Krishna Bose's work to the vast English-reading public, and especially the younger generations of Indians who are so eager to receive authentic information and knowledge about Netaji and his life of struggle. In conclusion, I would like to relate to you Krishna Bose's last conversation with Netaji's life partner, Emilie Schenkel, shortly before Emilie passed away in 1996. Both Krishna and Shishir Bose had a very close bond with Emilie, whom we called Auntie. Emilie, then 85, was keeping poor health and had been temporarily admitted to a nursing home in Bavaria, Germany. Concerned, Krishna called her up in the nursing home.